The sound of a milk bottle clinking against your doorstep at dawn. The distant whistle of a Coalman making his morning rounds. And the low hum of a wireless radio playing the Beatles for the first time. If any of that sends a shiver down your spine, you already know this isn't just about remembering. It's about feeling what it was like to grow up in the United Kingdom during the 1960s, when everything was changing, yet somehow everything still felt familiar. This decade wasn't just a backdrop, it was a world of its own, a time when London danced in color while homes still watched in black and white, when boys became mods and girls stitched their own miniskirts, when satire dared to poke fun at politics, and every corner cafe smelled like vinegar-drenched chips. If you grew up in the United Kingdom in the 1960s, this isn't history, it's memory. And as we walk through it, one detail at a time, you'll see just how vivid it still feels. It was not just fashion, it was rebellion wrapped in fabric. By the mid-1960s, London had become the heartbeat of global cool. Carnaby Street wasn't just a shopping spot, it was a symbol of youth taking over the culture. Young people were finally dressing for themselves, in bold colors and sharp cuts that screamed independence. Mary Quant didn't just design miniskirts, she ignited a social shift, one hemline at a time. For the first time, working-class teens looked just as sharp as aristocrats. Men wore velvet jackets and Cuban-heeled boots. Women flirted with eye-popping prints and Vidal Sisson's revolutionary bob cuts. Everything about swinging London challenged tradition. The drab grays of post-war England were melting away into a city blooming with energy, optimism, and defiance. It wasn't just how people looked, it was how they felt. This was a London that stayed up all night, partied at the Scotch of St. James, and strolled through Soho in the morning. Music, art, and fashion collided, blurring the lines between who could be what. If you were there, you didn't just witness a revolution, you wore it on your sleeve. It started with sharp suits and sharp minds. The mods, short for modernists, weren't just another youth trend, they were a movement. Clean lines, Italian scooters, and a passion for rhythm and blues defined their world. They didn't ride, they glided. Their Vespas and Lambertas were polished to perfection, often adorned with chrome mirrors, headlights, and enough personality to rival a rock band. But it was more than just aesthetics. It was a war on dullness. Mods were tired of the old ways, and they dressed like it. While their parents wore browns and beiges, mods embraced style with military precision. Every pleat was a protest. They gathered in cafes like the Gold Hawk Club or headed to Brighton Beach, where weekend clashes with rockers turned into headline news. Still, behind the style and swagger, there was something deeper, a hunger to be seen. Mods lived fast, danced harder, and refused to blend into the background. They rode in packs, but each one was their own statement. If you grew up in the United Kingdom during the 60s, you didn't just know the mods, you felt their presence everywhere you turned. It wasn't just music, it was a takeover. Suddenly the world was looking straight at the United Kingdom, and the United Kingdom answered with electric guitars, mop tops, and screaming fans. The Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Kinks, and the Who weren't just bands. They were movements shifting the axis of culture. Every teenager had a record player and a favorite lyric that felt like it was written just for them. For the first time, British accents ruled the American charts. The British invasion wasn't a military term, it was a cultural storm. She Loves You and Satisfaction weren't just hits, they were anthems. Radios blasted them across estates, schoolyards, and factories. Pop music wasn't background noise anymore, it was the conversation. And it changed how young people saw themselves. You didn't have to be rich or posh to become famous. You just had to have a voice and a dream. Across the United Kingdom, garages turned into rehearsal rooms, and every lad with a guitar imagined Liverpool or London calling next. If you grew up in the 60s, those sounds still echo in your bones. You didn't need a clock. You had the milkman. Before supermarkets and plastic cartons took over, the quiet clink of glass bottles was the morning soundtrack. Delivered to your doorstep before dawn, still cold from the crate, milk was part of the daily rhythm. Some milkmen even knew your family better than the neighbors did. And then there was coal, the smell of the season. Homes were heated by it, water boiled with it, and the Coalman's visit meant comfort was on its way. Heaving sacks on strong backs, they brought black dust and warmth into every street. Kids would run outside just to watch him work, soot floating in the chilly air like winter confetti. Life moved at a different pace, but it had its own poetry. The news came through the paper, not a screen. Bread was sliced at home, and neighbors actually knocked when they needed something. If you grew up in the United Kingdom in the 60s, you didn't just remember the sounds and smells. You still carry them like an old favorite song. Could you live without doorstep morning deliveries? Wasn't glamorous, but it was real. British cinema in the early 1960s turned its lens away from fantasy and towards the gritty truth. Kitchen sink realism showed what life was like for working-class families. Cramped flats, boiled dinners, broken dreams, and all. Films like A Taste of Honey or Saturday Night and Sunday Morning didn't sugarcoat anything, and that's exactly why they resonated. For the first time, ordinary people saw themselves on screen. These weren't fairy tales. They were raw, emotional, and often uncomfortable mirrors. Teenage girls got pregnant, fathers drank too much, couples argued in small kitchens while the kettle screamed in the background. It wasn't just storytelling, it was recognition. Finally, someone understood what real life felt like. And it changed what British culture dared to show. Directors and writers stepped into forbidden territory. Class struggle, broken systems, and the tension between generations. If you grew up in the United Kingdom during this era, you didn't just watch these films, you lived inside them. Every flickering black and white frame held a piece of your world. It opened with a smirk and struck like lightning. That was The Week That Was, known simply as TW3. Didn't just poke fun at politicians, it tore through the polite silence of British television, airing live and unfiltered in 1962. It mixed comedy, music, and cutting-edge commentary. Suddenly, television had teeth. This wasn't just a show, it was a cultural shift. Hosted by David Frost, TW3 dared to say what everyone else was thinking. It made fun of scandals, criticized leaders, and exposed absurdities, all while millions have watched with raised eyebrows. It was bold, it was sharp, and most of all, it was necessary. The 60s weren't just about style, they were about voice, and TW3 gave Britain a new one. If you were a teen or adult in that era, you remember it not just for its jokes, but for the way it made truth sound thrilling. Satire didn't feel dangerous, it felt like freedom. In every punchline, there was a message. The world is changing, and we're not afraid to laugh about it. It started with a fringe and turned into a statement. In the early 60s, a boy with long hair was strange. By the end of the decade, he was a symbol of defiance. The Beatles, once clean-cut and polished, let their hair grow past their collars, and an entire generation followed. Hair became political, rebellious, and deeply personal. Parents, teachers, and employers pushed back, but the kids didn't cut. Long hair on boys wasn't just a look, it was a rejection of everything uptight and outdated. Suddenly, masculinity wasn't stiff and suited. It was free, expressive, and loud. Every strand was a quiet protest against the old ways. And if you were a teen in the United Kingdom at that time, you definitely had that argument at the dinner table. Barbers lost business and bands gained followers. It wasn't just about the Rolling Stones or Cream. It was about becoming your own person. Long hair meant you didn't care what people thought. It said, I am not your version of normal. And for millions of young men across the United Kingdom, that was a message worth wearing. Men's wardrobes exploded, and not just in color. Out went gray wool and brown tweed. In came purple velvets, floral shirts, and ruffled cuffs. The Peacock Revolution gave British men permission to dress loudly. Designers like Michael Fish and boutiques like Granny Takes a Trip didn't just sell clothes, they sold a new kind of confidence. Men's fashion broke the rules and rewrote them. Suits came in pink, ties disappeared altogether. What mattered wasn't tradition, it was expression. Even office workers dared to wear brighter shades, wider collars, and trousers that actually moved when they walked. The drab post-war image of British manhood was crumbling, and it looked fabulous doing it. If you were loud in the 60s, you remember that first splash of color. Maybe it was a paisley shirt or a pair of Chelsea boots, but it felt like freedom. Suddenly, you didn't just dress for the job, you dressed for the revolution. And every mirror became a chance to say, look at me, I matter. Would you dare to dress like that now? The 60s weren't just a time, they were a feeling. If you grew up in the United Kingdom during that decade, you didn't just watch history unfold, you lived it. You wore it in your clothes, heard it in music, tasted it in your chips, and felt it in every clash of old versus new. And even now, decades later, certain smells, sounds, or songs can drop you right back into that magic. Because remembering isn't just about facts, it's about belonging. And if any part of this journey stirred something in you, a smile, a sigh, a yes, I remember that, then this is your place. Hit subscribe to keep these memories alive, share them with others, and discover the stories that shaped generations. Because the past isn't gone, it's just waiting to be remembered.
Learn Quran online with Hassan al-Basri Quran Academy. We teach Quran online with Tajweed through Skype, Zoom, and WhatsApp all over the world. We offer Quran for beginners, Quran with Tajweed, Qiraat course, Quran translation, Quran memorization, Tafsir course. Learn with qualified expert and trained teachers. So what you waiting for? Join us. Visit over website, HassanalBasriQuranAcademy.com.